Welcome to the Practical Farm Certifications Training. This program is brought to you by Louisiana SARE Sustainable Ag Research and Education and the LSU Ag Center. Today we'll be discussing organic and growing certifications. With us we have Jeremy Hendricks of Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry, Merrill Kennedy of Kennedy Rice Mill and Four Sisters Rice, Alice Barron of Certified Naturally Grown, and Leo Gorman of Grow Dat Youth Farm. We also have Dr. Pam Hodson with the LSU Ag Center and Louisiana Sea Grant to help us ask a few questions about what certifications can make markets more or less available to you. With that, I'll get our presentation started for today. In our organic growing training today, we'll be covering the two main certifications in our area, USDA Certified Organic and Certified Naturally Grown. Jeremy, if you'd please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Hendricks, and I'm the Director of Minority and Veteran Affairs with the Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry. I also serve as the State Organic Cost Share Coordinator for the state. And today I'll be talking with everyone about the Organic Certification Program and covering topics such as what is organic certification, who certifies farms and businesses as organic, what can I be certified to produce, what's the transitional period like, how much is the certification cost, and also what's the overall process? What does it look like in the state of Louisiana? Real quickly, I want to talk about what is organic certification. So organic certification verifies that your farm and handling facility located within the state of Louisiana complies with all of the USDA organic regulations and allows you to sell, label, represent your products as organic. Now, these regulations describe the specific standards required for you to use the word organic or the USDA organic seal on your food, feed, fiber products. The USDA National Organic Program administers this program and the regulations and its substantial input from its Citizen Advisory Board and also the public. So we want to get in. I work a lot with small farmers and new and beginning farmers in the state of Louisiana. And the question is, well, who certifies farms and businesses in the state of Louisiana to be certified organic? So your farm and handling facility may be certified by a private, foreign, or state entity that has been accredited by the USDA. Now, these entities are called certifying agents and are located throughout the United States. It is the responsibility of our certifying agents within the United States to ensure the USDA organic products meet all organic standards. The certification provides the consumer, whether they're the end user or an intermediate processor, the assurance that the organic products are met with organic standards and integrity. So a lot of our producers question, well, what can I be certified to produce? So the USDA has 4 categories where you can fall within the organic certification, and that's crops, livestock, processed products, or wild crops. So we're going to talk about the first one, which are crops. So that's any plant that is grown to be harvested as a food, livestock feed, fiber, or used to add nutrients to the field. That second category is livestock. Those are the animals that can be used for the food or in the production of food, fiber, and feed. Our third category is processed products. And these are items that have been handled or packaged, such as chopped carrots, also combined processed or packaged, such as soups. In Louisiana, we don't see much of the wild crops, but those are the plants that are growing on a site that has not been cultivated. Also, once the producers ask all those questions, they're like, what's the transitional period for me to get involved in organic certification? And that transitional period is 3 years, roughly in the state of Louisiana. I think that's the USDA's requirement as well. And that's any land that is used to produce raw organic commodities must not have had any prohibited substances applied to it for the past 3 years. So until that full 36-month transitional period is met, you may not sell, label, represent, or the product as organic, or use the USDA organic or certified agent seal. Now, during that 36-month transitional period, the USDA do offer some technical and financial assistance through their NRCS program, which is the Natural Resources Conservation Services, through their EQIP program, which is the Environmental Quality Incentive Program. And you can go to the NRCS website to find out more on those programs to see what technical and financial assistance they can offer during your transitional period. That we've discovered what organic certification is, what the what products and crops can be certified, you want to know what is the cost, what is my expense as a farmer, and why would I want to be organically certified? So the certification cost actually depends on the size and complexity of your operation, and also the certifying agents. Certification costs may range from a few $100s to several $1,000s. So it's real important before you apply to understand the fee structure of your certifying agent in their billing cycle. Typically, there is an application fee, an annual renewal fee, assessment on annual production or sales, and inspection fees. Now, these fees are upfront, but the USDA do offer a program called the USDA Organic Certification Cost Share Reimbursement Program that can reimburse you up to 75% of your certification costs, up to a $750 maximum reimbursement per scope. So if you have 4 scopes, you can get up to $750 per scope. And in the state of Louisiana, we do offer a state match portion to that. So you can also get up to 75% on the state side, or up to that $750 maximum per scope. So if you have 4 scopes in the state of Louisiana, you can get up to 4 reimbursements from the USDA, but on the state match side, we'll give you 1 reimbursement. So you can get roughly up to all of your certification costs back if you live in the state of Louisiana. I want to touch base on what that overall process looks like in the state. So now that you know what organic certification looks like, how do I get certified? So to become certified, you must apply to the USDA accredited certifying agent, and they will ask you information including a detailed description of your operation to be certified, a history of substances applied to your land during the previous 3 years, the organic products grown, raised, and processed, and you must provide a written organic system plan describing the practices and substances to be used. Once the certified agent reviews that application and verifies that the practices comply with the USDA organic regulations, then they will send out an inspector to perform an on-site inspection of your applicant's operation. Once that inspection has been performed, that certifying agent reviews the application and the inspector's report to determine if the applicant complies with the USDA organic regulations. Once all those compliances have been met, then the certifying agent issues an organic certificate. That certificate is issued on an annual basis, so there is an annual renewal for that certification within the organic certification process. I know this has been a lot of information that I've provided to you, but if you want to find out more, you may contact me at jhendricks@ldaf.la.gov, or you can call me at 337-948-0230. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeremy, and we'll make sure to include that information. Do you have any more information you wanted to cover before I ask you a few questions?
That's it.
Okay. So very first thing that somebody says, okay, I decided I want to get certified organic, they can go ahead and call you and start getting some info?
Yes.
And
yes, thank you.
Does this have a similar program to like the FSMA or GAPS walkthrough that we can do with extension, to help them get prepared? Is there like an organic prep walkthrough that they can do?
Well, they can contact a certifying agent on the list that I can send them that are accredited by the USDA, and they can do a prep program before that agent comes out to certify them.
Great. All right. Dr. Hodson, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Jeremy?
Sure. Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, Dr. Hodson.
With all the wonderful programs that you're involved with with the Louisiana Department of Agriculture, you mentioned that farmers call you typically to find out a little bit more about the program. Do you get any calls or requests for a list of organic farmers from, say, grocery stores? Or typically, what type of buyer is looking for organic? And do they contact you to maybe try to get a list of farmers that are certified organic?
I've been having the program since 2015, and I haven't received any calls from any buyers looking specifically for a list that contain the organic farmers in the state. The only list I would have would be the ones who participate in our cost share program. So we do have more organic farmers and producers in the state, but they all do not participate in the cost share program. And so that's a discrepancy. So my list may contain 30 organic producers, but we may have 100 organic producers within the state. but only 30 of those participate in our organic cost share program.
Okay, I guess really a lot of these places, like certain grocery stores, they do have buyers that will go out and make contact with farmers. We certainly are aware of that. So they probably are out there looking for certified farmers, and they probably are meeting them at various meetings. So I'm sure that they have a pretty good list of who they want to contact. Typically, though, what are the types of buyers that would be looking for certified? Is it like a Whole Foods, or I mean, is it typically a farmer's market? Give me a little bit of an idea.
I would say within the state of Louisiana, more Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, but now with the local food movement, we have a lot of restaurants and chefs who are looking for organically certified produce. So a lot of those chefs are looking for that, and that's where a lot of those that niche market and creating and increasing your economic value is coming in with our farmers, is having those connections with the chefs, the local chefs, and the local restaurants in the area.
So you can see there's a lot of demand for certified organic products.
Yes, a lot of people want to know where their food comes from and the growing practices of it.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you so much. And with that, we'll move on to our certified organic producer, Meryl Kennedy. Would you introduce yourself, Meryl? I think you're muted, Meryl.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. My name is Meryl Kennedy, and I am the owner and president of Kennedy Rice Mill and Four Sisters Rice. You can find our website at www.foursistersrice.com to learn a little bit more of our products. But so excited to be here and talk a little bit about the certification process of becoming certified organic and why we think it's a company that's so important for our customers and for our retailers.
So can you give us just a little bit of background of Kennedy Rice Mill and Four Sisters Rice and y'all's role in the local food system?
Absolutely. So Kennedy Rice Mill actually is certified organic. We process rice products and then mill them and then ship them out to the market. And Four Sisters Rice is our branded, we have products, we have 2 organic SKUs, and then we have conventional items as well. As a family and as a corporation, we actually take rice from the farm through our farmer partnerships, through the mill and into the package to the retail shelf. So we're actually part of the process all the way down from the farm itself. And so I'm happy to talk about, anything from the certification process from our farms to our storage facilities to our mill, and then how we relate that information onto the market.
Wow, so you guys are certified organic just all the way up. That's really exciting. So what was the process like of becoming certified? Would you call it lengthy, easy, or complex?
I wouldn't call it easy, but I don't think that a certification like USDA certified organic should be easy. I think that, some of the complexity to it is necessary to make sure that there's no theft, that people are really doing the things that they need to be doing. And then that gives the consumers, that idea that, what they're really getting is organically grown and it's not, a farce. And so I think that that's important. It was a learning curve for us. We were the first organic certified rice farm in the state of Louisiana, to my knowledge. I don't know anyone else. So we had to lean on some of our other partners in Arkansas and Texas that we knew that were also growing rice in those states organically. Probably the farm level was the most complex, the amount of paperwork that it takes and the process to transition the farmland, that 3 years, right, that we talked about earlier, that is something that, has to be accomplished. What do you do with the rice in the process? Can you find other markets? Which thankfully we were able to take our rice to a customer that actually was buying certified transitional. So that was really exciting because that gave us a different marketplace for our transitional rice. But that process was lengthy and it was complex and it was very different from a farming perspective, just because we had never done anything like that as far as keeping up with paperwork and certifications on the farm before. At our plant, it was a little bit easier. It's still a pretty complex type of certification to get, but because we were GFSI certified, which is Global Food Safety Initiative, BRC Grade A, we have all the food safety certifications. adding the organic certification wasn't as complex at that point. We do have to do a lot of purges since we both manufacture conventional items and organic items, right? We have to make sure that we're keeping that identity preservation for the organics, very important. But it, to me, was, because of our other certifications, a bit less complicated and a bit less lengthy.
Would you say that the transition in your practices was harder, or doing the paperwork was harder as you guys changed?
It's interesting. My father and my brother-in-law have had a lot more work on the farm, and I would say that getting our farmer partners to understand how important the paperwork was challenging. Transitioning to organic wasn't as challenging, but there are still hurdles that you just have to, if you don't understand the organic world and you haven't been in it before, you just, you don't know the tricks of the trade. I wanted to point out the Omni list was super important for us, something that nobody had told us about before, which is basically where you can find all the different materials that are organic certified, right? That's something that people don't talk about a lot. We had to find sources of different nitrogens, like sources of cattle manure, those kind of things that gave more nitrogen than other types of fertilizers. So it was a bit of a, what works and doesn't work for the first couple of years. And, now, thankfully, we've kind of gotten into a routine where we feel like, we understand what we can use, first of all, because there are certain things that the Organic Association or USDA allows you to use. And then, what we can't use, and then how do you document that?
Yeah. So that list that you just mentioned, is that on the organic website?
Actually, I had it listed here. It's omri.com, omri.com, I believe. And they have a whole list of organic materials. I'm looking at it now. I mean, for instance, something that's approved is sodium nitrate, for nitrogen and rice growing. That's really important. Obviously there's a lot of things not allowed, but that does kind of give you a list. It also gives you a list of vendors that support the organic industry.
Great. Thank you so much. I will definitely include that as a resource for becoming organic. Next question. How can having the certification or not having it affect your business? Like, why did you decide to get this?
You might as well not grow organic without the USDA organic seal, in my opinion. If you're going to sell a commercial crop of any type for organic, on medium or large scale, and even on a small scale, because I really think that consumer just integrity and that you want to make sure that your consumer knows that you're doing everything you can possible. And that USDA seal is so important for that confidence level from the consumer perspective. So I think it's vital. I wouldn't do business without it.
Okay. And who would you recommend this certification to?
I would recommend the certification to anybody that's considering processing organic, growing organic, or selling an organic product. They're all a little bit different. Every part of the certification process is a bit different. But I would recommend it to anybody that would be interested in getting in the organic world.
So I think it's really important what Jeremy said earlier about the different categories. It's not just for farmers, it's also for processors and all four of those categories.
Absolutely. You can't forget that if you're just going to start a brand, for instance, right, it's going to be organic. You need to make sure that your processor is certified. You need to make sure that where they're holding your product is certified, and you need to make sure that if it's a commodity or some type of grown crop, that is also certified. So the entire supply chain, not just one piece of it. And I think many people fail to recognize all the different steps that seal really comes to represent at the grocery store. It's not just one piece of the supply chain, but it's the entire supply chain.
Yeah. Dr. Hodson, do you have any questions for Meryl?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. It sounds like you have a lot of demand for your product. Who typically are the types of buyers that you have for the products? Is it grocery stores? Do consumers ask for it? Chefs? I mean, who typically looks for your certified rice product?
Yeah, so At Kennedy Rice Mill, we were selling conventional items for a long time until probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Some of our larger CPG companies started asking us to grow organics. And that's really when we started getting into this. So people like Mars, Kellogg's, you can imagine some of the larger companies that are looking for organic products as an ingredient, rice as an ingredient, but also in their retail products. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we started transitioning about 3,000 acres into organic from conventional. But now, since we've been certified for a few years, we've actually had felt like there was a demand at the retail shelf for our products and tell our story and what we've been doing. And so we've seen a lot of demand from our retail partners. In fact, I'm crossing my fingers that we continue to expand across the nation. And but here in Louisiana, you can find our products at Whole Foods Market, at Rouse's, and here in North Louisiana, hopefully in the next week, Brookshire's. So, and Walmart. Don't forget the big guy.
That's good, because I know a lot of people are going to want to be able to buy your product. So it's good to know it's available locally. Absolutely. And look, if you're not able to go to a grocery store right now, we actually launched an online retail website just because of the COVID-19 situation, wanting people to feel like they have food security and that they have products that they need. And rice is such a pantry staple that we thought that was really important. So, if you can't get to the grocery store, you can't find it in your local market, please order the product online. Great, thank you.
And that'll be that website that we listed earlier, and we'll make sure that all the information.
Yes, that's correct.
We're going to take another pause for just a second here. We're having some more technical difficulties, but thank you very much, Meryl. And I'll give an intro into Alice's part because I think she's going to have a whole bunch of other information there that I feel like so many people know more about organic and not about certified naturally grown. Let me make sure, Jeremy, let's see. Okay,
I didn't even know that there was the official certification for natural grown. That's awesome. Some of the buyers are even interested in helping you transition. So I didn't want to get too deep into this, but Kashi did the transitional program with us where they bought our transitional rice for 3 years in order for us to certify. And they had a whole marketing plan around that. And that really was the biggest motivator to transition because it is so costly to make those 3 years. So, if you have somebody that's looking for a particular product, then you can always reach out to conventional growers and say, hey, would you be interested? I think conventional growers are looking to deepen their window and to provide, organic items potentially, but they just don't know how to make it financially work sometimes.
Finding buyers is the name of the game for
absolutely. Absolutely. If you can find a buyer, absolutely.
Yeah. So along with these videos, I'll also be putting together a booklet, pamphlet, PDF that has these basics first off with, what does it take to get certified, but also we'll have y'all's inputs and opinions on your journey with getting certified. So it'll have like a little farmer excerpt sort of thing. But yeah, I'll definitely include that information. And if you're okay with me including that it was Kashi, I can put that on there. So maybe people will call up Kashi, see if they need anything. Yeah. But otherwise, our buyers looking for you while you're transitioning is really helpful.
Yeah, I don't think Kashi would mind. They did a whole, marketing plan around it. And 1% of, land is organic in the U.S. And they had a whole, marketing strategy behind the whole product. They even had a certified transitional item. So we had to be certified transitional for a while.
Next up, we have Alice Barron with Certified Naturally Grown, the Executive Director. Go ahead, Alice, and introduce yourself.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sydney. So Certified Naturally Grown offers peer review certification to farmers and beekeepers who grow food for their local community and verifies that they do it without synthetic chemicals or GMOs. So we're the kind of farmers that you'll see typically at the farmers market. So I'm going to give you an overview of our history and what the certification process looks like. Certified Naturally Grown, also known as CNG, was founded back in 2002 and the National Organic Program took effect. It was founded by farmers who were selling food to their local community and were very committed to using organic practices. When the National Organic Program started back then, they found themselves faced with a choice of either going through this organic certification process or discontinuing using the word organic, but they wanted a way to convey their practices, and for one reason or another felt like the new program wasn't a good fit for them. And today we're an independent nonprofit organization. It's a voluntary association. It's not mandated by anyone to participate. And there's no governing legislation. There are about 750 farmers and beekeepers throughout North America participating now. So the key characteristics of certified naturally grown farmers is that they don't use synthetic chemicals or GMOs, and they're committed to growing food in a way that sustains and enhances the health of soil, healthy plants, the animals under their care, and of course the humans who eat them. There are some core certification elements similar to the organic certification process. There's transparent standards that define what it means, what the standards that need to be met to become certified. There's an application that has to be filled out. It's not just a pledge. The farmers have to answer questions about their production practices, and those get reviewed to verify that they're in keeping with the standards. And of course, there's an annual on-site inspection carried out to further verify those practices. So a lot of folks want to know, what is the difference between CNG and organic, because most people take that as a point of reference. So we find it helpful to explain, to sort of do a side-by-side here. CNG, unlike organic, is really tailored for farmers growing food for their local communities, whereas the organic program is serving a much larger range and swath of our agricultural communities, including larger operations selling to wholesale markets. A key difference is our inspection process is carried out by other farmers. It's a peer review model that's endorsed and promoted internationally by the organic, IFOAM Organics International. Typically, it costs less to be certified naturally grown, although the USDA cost share program does help a lot of farmers in that regard. And there's less paperwork in the CNG program. Certified naturally grown farmers are typically selling at farmers markets, independent grocers. Many sell to restaurants and through community-supported agriculture and on-farm farm stands. Some of our members also sell into wholesale markets, but that's not a majority of certified naturally grown farmers by any stretch. We offer certification there are these certification types. We certify produce growers, that's the vast majority, also beekeepers, livestock producers, aquaponics operations, and mushroom growers. Each of these 5 certification types has its own set of production standards that are on our website, and a separate application as well as separate inspection forms. So the first step in getting started in the certification process is to review those standards and see if it's a good fit. Do they fit with your production practices? You can see each of them listed on our website at cngfarming.org/certification. If they do seem like a good fit, then we recommend you apply for certification. If they aren't quite a good fit, if your practices don't yet meet the standards, we recommend that you have at least a year of experience under your belt farming according to CNG standards, which are based on the organic standards, so that you know, excuse me, how you would handle any challenges that may arise while keeping in the standards. We're easy to reach by phone or email. This is our contact info here. Jenna's our member services coordinator who will get right back to folks with questions, and call or text at the number here. So a little about the certification process. If your application is accepted, there's 3 core requirements that need to be met every year. There's a 1-page declaration that our members sign and return annually. Their certification dues are also an annual requirement, and the next slide will get into the nitty-gritty of that. And then, of course, the on-site inspection is an annual requirement. It's not just one and done, but it's every year. And that's both to verify the practices and also to learn from other producers near you who are often dealing with the very same challenges you are. So that's actually a real draw to our certification process. So back to the certification dues, we recommend 200 or more per year and leave it up to the members to determine the exact amount based on the scale of their operation. Some pay more, some pay less. 150 is the minimum. And we have monthly dues payment plans of $17, $20 or more per month that's automatically paid through a card. And for folks, we do have a subsidy program of our own, the Grassroots Fund, funded by other members, and it does help cover the dues for beginning farmers and those facing unusual hardship, like extreme weather or loss of a job, other supplemental sources of income. And lastly, there is a fourth requirement, which we call the work requirement, which is that you conduct an inspection of another CNG farmer as long as there is one within an hour's drive of a similar certification type. And the intention there is to verify that the standards are being met, of course, as well as to share and learn with each other and connect with another producer. This is an image of an apiary inspection in North Carolina. And one update to this, we've just recently added the option for our newer members to observe an inspection instead of conducting an inspection. And that's a great way to learn the ropes and while meeting two other producers. All of our certified naturally grown producers are listed on our website. There's this page here that lists them all by state. You can also search for farms within a radius of your zip code or town on the right-hand side there. And as an example, here's the map of CNG farms near New Orleans. You'll see the dots on the map indicate where they're located, and then just underneath the map is a listing of those farms. And you can click on the farm name to expand and get a link to their particular farm profile. Here's an example of one CNG farm in Texas, and they've uploaded photos, put some descriptive text. It's easy to get in touch with CNG producers through their social media accounts if they have them listed up on the right-hand side here, or down at the bottom below where this image cuts off, there's a button you can click to send them an email, as well as their other contact information. This is a great way for customers to find our certified naturally grown producers and for producers to find one another when it's time to arrange an on-site inspection. So what are the perks? What are the benefits of joining CNG? Of course, one of them is the marketing benefits. Everyone gets listed on the website, permission to use the CNG logo in their marketing materials once they complete the certification process. And they also get access to some of the more selective independent grocers and farmers markets that we have listed on our website as well. We have a guide to exceptional markets. That helps encourage recognition of certified producers, whether certified naturally grown or certified organic or other certifications. We also pre-make some marketing materials that are available for sale to certified producers, including twist ties and stickers and signs. And of course, a certificate. But for a lot of folks, the benefits go beyond marketing. A lot of farmers are drawn to certified naturally grown because of the opportunity to connect with other like-minded farmers. They want to learn from their peers and their experiences, and they want to just help convey their values at the farmers market and build the movement for a more sustainable food system. So these are just some of the reasons why folks join CNG. We welcome any interested folks to get in touch with us, and happy to answer any questions.
So just to sum up what you were saying, if somebody is looking to become certified naturally grown, the first step is to look through the standards, see if they fit them, and if they do, to give you guys a call or email. But one of the important things is that you need to get certified or inspected by another certified naturally grown farmer. What if there is not one in your area that has the same certification that you have?
Sure, that's a good question. If I can just quickly circle back to the first step. If it is a good fit, then they can just go on our website and apply online. I don't know that I emphasize that enough, but that would be the next step if they don't have questions, to just jump on the page, cngfarming.org/get-certified, and fill out an application there. But yeah, it does happen sometimes that someone needs an on-site inspection and there aren't any CNG farmers nearby. Some of our members are in very remote areas where it's like a 45-minute drive to get to the farm, and that can pose some challenges. And we have had folks who are just so remote that they can't get it done, and therefore they can't be certified. If they want, they can hire an organics inspector. So far, no one's done that, but we would allow that if they wish to. But yeah, unfortunately, it is a requirement we don't waive, but we do provide alternatives to tapping a CNG farmer. They can also rely on a certified organic farmer. They can tap an extension agent. Sometimes extension agents are happy to do that. And they can also rely on another farmer who's using organic practices, who is running a farming business. So there's a few options. Yeah.
And as you showed on the map earlier, we do have a few certified naturally grown farmers here, but we have had the cases where we've had extension help certify farms. So that's already, has precedence here in Louisiana, thankfully.
Yeah.
Dr. Hodson, do you have any questions for Alice?
Just one quick question. It sounds like farmers markets must really love what you guys have to offer, particularly since it's so local, focused on very local, which is what our farmers markets are all about. How do you get the word out to farmers market managers who might be looking for some farmers in their area to sell at their particular farmers markets?
Well, they definitely, some of them know about us and just go right to our website and start looking for farms near the market. But it is tricky to do outreach to market managers. We've had a project to do just that and contact them to invite them to participate in our guide to exceptional markets. But it's really also through the state market associations are very helpful as well. Yeah.
So they're aware of how to reach you guys through just different methods, social media. And I'm sure a farmer may contact the farmer's market manager and say, look, I like to be part of your market, and this is what I have as far as my certification. So I'm sure there's a lot of farmers doing their own recruiting so that they get the words out to the farmers market managers. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to get back to the presentation so we can give Leo an intro. Oh, let me click through this. Any info you gave with contact, we'll make sure that is up and easy to see.
Okay.
There we go. All right, and with that, we have a certified naturally grown farmer, Leo Gorman. If you would please introduce yourself and your organization.
Hey everyone, my name is Leo Gorman. I'm farm manager at Grow Dat Youth Farm in New Orleans, Louisiana.
So Leo, what was the process like for you of becoming certified?
Oh, I'm gonna introduce myself again and say our role in the food system.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Hey everyone, my name is Leo Gorman. I'm farm manager at Grow Dat Youth Farm in New Orleans, Louisiana. Grow Dat's mission is to nurture a diverse group of young leaders through the meaningful work of growing food. We've been in operation since 2010, and essentially our project is a 7-acre site in City Park, a public park in New Orleans, in which we're growing for market. We're sharing the food, we're donating food, but it's a space for young people ages 15 to 21 to come learn about sustainable agriculture and advance their leadership through the vehicles of sustainable growing food, but also examining how and the role food plays in our systems and examining the inequities in those systems to kind of so that they can hone their critical thinking skills moving forward. So our role in the food system is a combination of increasing food access for moderate and low income residents in New Orleans, sustaining ourselves as a nonprofit, and also primarily acting as kind of a container vehicle for youth leadership advancement.
Thank you so much. So what was the process like for you of becoming certified naturally grown? How would you describe it?
The process was actually quite pleasant. Usually in the different kinds of certification processes that I've been involved with outside of agriculture, they can be burdensome or cumbersome, but I felt like the information was very clear, the steps were pretty fluid, and the organization made it pretty easy to access when I had a question. And I've worked on other farms that are USDA certified, though I wasn't involved in those certification processes. I found this one to be straightforward, easy, and rigorous, to make sure that what we say we're doing, but then also to not burden the grower or the applicant with so much red tape that it becomes time consuming, overly time consuming, or expensive.
Okay. So what I'm kind of gathering here is that there's a lot more paperwork involved with being USDA certified organic, when really it relies a lot more on the grower for certified naturally grown, but not so much in paperwork.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar directly with the USDA certified organic process, but the CNG process in terms of paperwork has been pretty easy with our certification, we've been certified about a year now. We had a local grower who was also like a friend and a colleague of ours that came to the farm, and it was an opportunity to talk and to share ideas in addition to the actual certification piece. So yeah, I can't echo that enough. I think one of the reasons we've enjoyed being part of CNG is for the marketing piece, but also the opportunity to hold ourselves accountable in a more structured way, and also to connect with other growers and share ideas. But specifically, the paperwork was minimal and very easy to navigate.
Great. So how can having this certification affect your business? Why would you get this certification? Or why did you get this certification?
Yeah, so our farm, so we're a nonprofit. Our site is 7 acres. We're growing on 2, and we're primarily growing fresh vegetables. We have 130 member CSA. We do some restaurants and the occasional wholesale, and a weekly farmers market. So all of those market channels tend to be markets in which we're having a lot of direct contact with the consumer, and who are supporting our farm because they support our mission to support young people in New Orleans and local sustainably produced produce. And they know who we are. They come to our site, and we have information on our website. We share with them the ways that we grow our food, and they believe us, and they don't necessarily need that certification to tell them to kind of vouch. And we found that as other growers around our region were getting certified naturally grown, compared to the cost of USDA certification, and based on our market channels, which are primarily local consumers and not in terms of scale or a channel, large wholesale contracts, that it seemed like a right fit for us. I feel like USDA certification might be something we get someday. I think the one of the calculations is, what is your market, and what is your market demanding? So I've worked on farms in Southern Oregon, outside of Washington, D.C., where fresh vegetable farms, where USDA certification was super important for CSAs and farmers markets and restaurants, same channels we have, but those markets are much more developed in the sense of a lot more, tend to be a lot more wealth, a lot more kind of sophistication, as it were, from the consumer side to really demand a USDA organic seal. And in New Orleans, up until now, that in our experience has been, people are across income just want to know and will tend to believe you, like what you're doing is what you're doing. So we haven't found that the USDA certification is necessary to necessarily advance our business. I think we move forward with certified naturally grown for a lot of the reasons that have been discussed, because it was a certification that I think added value to our brand. It helped us get even more connected with local growers. I really like the accountability of holding myself accountable, of going through the certification process each year and going down the list and seeing where are we moving on a particular item. So I feel like it's been good for our business and our brand and our mission in all kinds of ways.
Great. All right. So with that, who would you recommend this certification to?
I would recommend it to small to mid-sized growers who are doing primarily direct marketing and who have a lot of contact points with their customers. We also have a wholesale relationship with Whole Foods, and when we sell, it's listed as conventional, and which we're not using any kind of synthetic chemicals or pesticides or fertilizers, and that's a very small bucket of where our food is going. So I would say for folks who are trying to get into kind of larger wholesale markets, whether it's into schools or I don't know, supermarkets, that this may or may not be the certification for you. But I think farms that are selling directly to producers at farmers markets through CSAs, particularly now as COVID-19 has really changed the landscape, I think, of local food production, perhaps the competition will increase and certified naturally grown growers will have, and USDA certified will have perhaps an advantage.
Great. Dr. Hodson, do you have any questions for Leo?
Yeah, yes, Leo. You mentioned that you are involved also in some food giveaways. Who do you provide your food? I guess this is surplus that you're not selling at the farmer's market, or do you just typically donate a certain percentage to, say, the food bank in New Orleans?
Yes. So part of our mission, it's not surplus in the sense of just kind of whatever we have left over. Our planning each year is focused on growing 70% for market and 30% for donation, or what we call our shared harvest program. And this is a program in which we partner with mission-aligned partner organizations that support social justice and worker rights, racial justice, and kind of more traditional hunger relief organizations in New Orleans. So those kind of run the gamut from Second Harvest Food Bank to the Congress of Day Laborers to First 72, which support formerly incarcerated folks in their transition into society. So these are all organizations that we're working with either on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, and providing starts, vegetable starts, produce, and oftentimes kind of recipes and other kind of information on that. So our CNG certification hasn't really come into play as much in those relationships, but we've been. It's also I think the CNG certification is an opportunity to educate customers and the public about what sustainable agriculture means, because I think an important conversation, right, too, is just because you're not USDA certified doesn't mean you're practicing righteous agriculture, right? There are many reasons why different farms and growers have different certifications or don't, and so I think it invites conversations that we can discuss more about food insecurity, but also about the practices that we're using.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, great. And I feel like that really hits at the major point of these certifications and why we're going over them. You know, both USDA certified organic and certified naturally grown are talking about the way that your food is grown, that you're not using certain pesticides and that you're taking care of how you're affecting the environment around you. So these certifications are kind of opening a new dialogue as to what does that mean? Although I feel that USDA certified organic is a more recognizable seal just because it's been around for longer and more people are that type of certified organic. But I think certified naturally grown is definitely growing in Louisiana and becoming more recognizable and is definitely starting conversations, maybe even more so than the typical organic seal. Are there any other questions you guys want to ask each other? I feel like there is room here for a pretty good discussion if you guys have cross questions. Don't have to. It's okay. Okay, Dr. Hodson, do you have any other questions you want to ask the group while we have both of these great groups together?
Yeah, it sounds like there's a couple of things to interplay. I heard SQF as well as, I guess, with the rice producer, the SQF and organic. It seems like the two play into each other, so to speak. I know one has got a different role, but it sounds like the two work together pretty well.
You know, they're both very different, and you have to have both certifications to do business with a lot of different retailers, right? Because retailers are wanting to make sure that, you know, they're maintaining a really high level of certification. So depending on what markets you're going to, they're going to require you to have a GFSI certification, which would be SQF or BRC. And then they're going to, if you're claiming organic, they're going to want that organic USDA seal. They are different, but I'll say that our practices on the food safety side have helped us implement organic practices at the plant level. So the way that we do our flushing and the way that we make sure that there's no cross-contamination and all those things. And then just in general, the identity preservation all the way through, I think, you know, really play hand in hand. So you're absolutely right. It's not required to have, I mean, you can have the USDA organic certification without the SQF or BRC certification, and vice versa. But if you want to, if you really want to play in kind of the mass market retail business, I think that that's probably the best way to go. However, I do think it's just fascinating, this natural certification for farmers markets, for smaller farmers and our agricultural partners to get those kind of certifications, because, you know, to some of the points that this other group was making earlier, organic certification is very costly. It doesn't fit every model. It doesn't fit every consumer's, right? So if it's not necessary for your consumer or your retailer, you know, going down a certification product, program like this allows you to know that you're doing things to the best of your ability, you know, have that network of farmers, which is so important for us on the organic side too. I mean, having an ability to talk to different people in your same, you know, if you're farming lettuce, you want to know from other, you know, farmers that are growing organic lettuce, right? Not from me that's growing organic rice, because everybody is doing a little bit something different. So I think having those networks, and especially as we all learn together, because this really is a learning process, there's very little land in Louisiana that's certified organic or certified natural. I think is the best tool that we can use, is just lean on each other. And I appreciate, you know, our ag extension services having these kind of programs available. I think it's important.
Try to educate. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I think what I'm getting from both the certifications here, if I was a farmer and I was trying to figure out, you know, I wanted to show my consumers that I am taking care of how I grow my food and I'm conscious of the environment, really it's what I have available, you know, what I'm willing to do, but it's also the market, really. Who you're going to sell to is determining which certifications you should go after.
Absolutely.
Definitely figuring out your market first.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that we see certified naturally grown as a an important complement to the National Organic Program, which will, together with the success of both programs, help build a more sustainable food system. And we have many members who start with CNG and grow their farms for several years. They're able to then produce at a level to access wholesale markets, and then they'll either transition to organic certification or add it on to their CNG certification and hold both. And we think that's a great thing. And also for those farms who've been certified organic for many years, and then maybe they're scaling down, or they just know their customers so well, they feel like, I think CNG is going to do the trick for me, and I don't need organic certification. I'm working with these customers I've known for 10 years, and that's great too. I think what's important is that farmers are getting their practices verified, and they're highlighting it to customers so customers can make informed choices. Without CNG, a lot of folks would go to the farmers market thinking that it's all organic food. It's just a misconception that we hope to dispel by having some vendors there with a certification that actually is backed up and verified. So definitely education's a part of what we see ourselves doing as well, as Leah was saying.
Yeah, these certifications are a great way to start that conversation. We also, in our marketing video for the Practical Farm Certification Series, are featuring Crescent City Farmers Market, which is a certified naturally grown farmers market. So just like organic, it's not just the farm that can be certified, but all the different levels.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yep. They're one of our guide. They're in our guide to exceptional markets, what we call gems listed.
That's great. Yeah. We're definitely happy to have some gems here in Louisiana. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me for our training today. I really appreciate all of your time and input, and I think that this information is really going to help our growers as well as our consumers learn a little bit more about what it takes to become certified organic and certified naturally grown, and what they're really seeing when they see that label at the store or at the farmer's market. Thank you, guys.
Great. Thanks, Sydney.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting the program.
Thank you.
Bye.